I have been having a lot of thoughts lately about the Amazing Digital Circus. I guess it's because I'm working on an entry for it, if I can call it that. I barely made half a minute. Yeah, I'm a bit late for the party, with the finale being released several months. I saw it in the cinema. Yeah, and I guess I just took some time to look in my head. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it. Can I record it? Why not? I'm gonna start with the positives, that despite all the flaws, despite all things that I dislike, that I think I dislike personally, like objectively, subjectively, just bad writing or aspects that I dislike due to my personal beliefs, that it's still an enjoyable show. I mean, it is 9 all episodes of a cartoon released online for free, made not by just some huge corporations, but just passionate people, creators. That's awesome. That's amazing, independent, and also something that I'm really amazed by, that it is also released instantly with many translations, not just subtitles, but even dubs that you can just switch on YouTube. That's something very cool. Before apparently it was available before in like previous series in the murder drones and stuff, but I only discovered that aspect in the Amazing Digital Circus. Yeah, maybe I'm late for the party again, but I think that is really cool. Like 9 episodes that are decent, despite, like I said, despite all the flaws and drawbacks, it's free. I guess, yes, of course, I paid for to go to the cinema to see the final episode in the cinema, but still, I didn't pay to produce it, and the series as a whole is free. That was I considered that ticket to be more of a donation to support independent animation. Like I remember I followed it from the very start. I remember watching the pilot all years ago. I watched every episode, well, except for the finale, because that one I didn't like much. But I watched all of the episodes at least 4 times because I was checking out all the languages that I know. I watched the original English, then in different orders depending on what I like, what I feel like. I'd watch in Ukrainian, in Polish, and in Russian just to check out the differences. That was very fun. And, I thought it was a very interesting setup. People trapped in a digital world. The pilot, well, it was the pilot. It just showed that, hey, there's people and they are stuck in the digital world. Showed the general behavior of the characters, like Pomni is the newest. She's the point of view character, the most relatable one, the one through whom we are viewing the circus. Then, Jack says he's the big meanie, grumpy Zubul, everything as Jack said in episode 6, archetypes, general idea of the characters. Then episode 2 is, again, shows more of Pomni and shows how the world actually works, because the pilot, it was just an in-house adventure. The second one shows that how an actual adventure with the different world and stuff goes, and shows what NPCs look like. And it shows an important part of Pomni's character, that despite Gamigu, like, technically not being real, just being an NPC, Pomni still wants to help him, wants to be friendly with him. That makes her very likable. Unlike some purple characters, like she's nice to everyone, not to a fault. Not like too nice, but just, hey, she wants to help when she can. She's not a meanie who abuses a particular character all the time. Yeah. Then episode 3 is, well, mostly Pomni hanging out with Kinger. It's like, again, an episode all about, you could say, all about Kinger. Because he talks about his past, about his wife. We see how he is in the dark. A setup for all that pays off all the way later in episode 8. That's really cool. Then episode 4 is all about Gangle, where episode 3 was like Pomni hanging out with Kinger, but getting trapped in the horror and stuff. And of course, episode 3 had the therapy session with Zubul and Kane. Oh, and I guess disclaimer, trigger warning, whatever you want to call it, for the duration of this video. Well, at all, I guess. I'll be calling Zubul she. I just cannot call a singular person they. It just doesn't work like that in my head, which is which is something funny in the translations. It's only English that's so weird that you can call a single person they. For example, if I remember correctly, in Ukrainian and Russian, Zubul just switches between male and female pronouns. Sometimes calls he, sometimes she. That's how the translators worked around it. But in Polish, it comes out very silly because in Polish, they call Zubul it, like refer as an inanimate object. And like, for example, even in episode 9, where very wholesome scene where Gengel tells Zubul that you've left a mark in my life. It's like, oh, very wholesome. But in Polish, she uses a verb, like you left a mark in pozostawiłeś. Like, oh, you're so important to me. You left a mark in my life. But I also think that you're an inanimate object. I don't know if that is how Polish non-binaries talk about themselves, but it sounds pretty stupid. Yeah. And to Jax, I'm gonna refer as a he because, well, I don't think that sex can be changed, so there's that. As I was saying, yeah, episode 3 was mostly about Ginger and a little bit of Zubul there, you know, the whole therapy session. That was pretty character opening, you know, like, oh, hey, struggling with body parts and all that, not liking yourself. That's quite character opening. I don't know how to say, you know, that's a lot, no? Then episode 4 is all about Gengel. I would say that's even more than episode 3 about Ginger. Episode 4 is even more about Gengel because in episode 3, Pomni was all teamed up with Ginger when they got lost and, you know, in the horror and stuff. But in episode 4, it's a lot more Gengel centered. Like, there's only a few times Gengel is with Pomni when like yeah, she is working and stuff, but like the most important interactions is when she was taking out the trash and tries to cheer Gengel up, and then when she says that she will lock up the store. That's like the deep interactions, not when she was telling her to get back to work and stop talking, scaring the customers with the Gamigu and stuff. And of course, and again, a lot of comedy, you know, in all these 4 episodes. Like, episodes from 1 to 4 are, I'd say, my favorite, you know. They were setting up a formula, I guess, that every episode is gonna focus on a specific character. And then episode 5 is where things started to shift. It not something I noticed. It's something that I heard someone point out. And yeah, that is very important. That it's starting from episode 5, things started shifting from being from Pomni's perspective and an episode being dedicated to Pomni's interaction with some character. Things shifted to being all about Jax. Yeah, like and again, it is. I would be lying if I said I didn't like episode 5. It is very funny, very random. You know, like, oh, all these random scenarios. Let's lightning round. Yeah, you know, very funny. Like, oh, playing against evil versions of the softball against evil version of themselves. Isn't that a hilarious idea? But at the same time, you know, most suggestions are from Jax. Most, you know, Jax is almost always on the screen and always commenting about what those scenarios are, you know, where everyone else just kind of goes along. Like, he comments in almost every scenario, every adventure suggested, while some of the other characters, they just stay on the sidelines, you know. And especially something that upsets me, you know, is the bar scene where characters discuss their pasts, you know. Especially, I think the characters who got it worst, I believe, are Zubul and Ragata. But Zubul got it the worst. The Zubul just, oh yeah, I've been a tattoo artist and a bartender, you know, and That's it. Like, of course, there was that therapy session in episode 3, but it was like, it wasn't really exploring the past. And you could say, like, oh, they in the bar, they all talk about their pasts, but Jax lies and references Breaking Bad. But later on, Jax gets too much backstory and flashbacks. So, yeah. And of course, Ragata, like, her story is still so mysterious, and well, that's something to say for episode 8 and later still uncovered. Yeah, but again, like, there is a shift. You could say that, oh, it's evenly spread, it's not an episode that is focused on some one character, it's all around them, exploration, interactions, but no, there is a shift on Jax. Episode 6 is, I would say, completely, it again returns to that formula of Pomni hanging out with one of the main casts, in this case with Jax, and like the view into how he views the world, where he just straight up says how he views this circus, that it's all fake and they're all archetypes and they must act according to them. And like, oh no, he's freaking out in the bathroom and stuff. But and of course, there are some pleasant moments with. There are also interactions between Ragata and Kinger and Zubul and Gangle. Them all set up, that pays off later. But again, it feels like there are episodes missing. After all, episode 5 is all these short. It feels like it feels like Zubul and Ragata got robbed. So, there was an episode with Kinger, an episode with Gangle, then the lightning route, and then an episode with Jax. Yeah. And instead, it feels like there also should be an episode with Zubul and an episode of Pomni, from Pomni's perspective with Zubul, and from Pomni with Ragata. And then there, like, if only there would be 2 more episodes between episode 4 and 5. If only there would be 2 more episodes about Zubul and about Ragata. Or maybe after 5. That's also nice. Or even after 6, but somewhere there between 7, but definitely before 7. Because, and again, even though I don't like this focus on Jax, and for many reasons, but still, episode 6 is very entertaining. It's a shootout. It's, Pomni decides to be evil, and she actually starts getting along with Jax until he starts being an ass, as always. My favorite part gotta be Kinger actually having fun, like, he's just so into the shooting. Even before the game starts, he, like, when they're waiting for the countdown, he's all like, and then, like, this shooting, and when he actually loses, but still he's so cheerful. He's like, oh, those adventures. Who knew Pomni could be such a sharpshooter? He would benefit from more shooting, Like, he's actually into it. He should just play shooters, battle royales and all that. Yeah. Then, Gangle finally had some fun with the Tommy gun. And Pomni finally embraced, like, the wackiness, the whole revolver spinny, to defeat, to win again. No, well, to defeat it sounds wrong. To just win against Zubul. Although Zubul kind of did stupid, I think. Like, why keep? That's one thing. If Zubul would just stop shooting. When she throws the flashbangs and the Pomni and Jax are thrown away from the door, and she shoots them, she just keeps shooting and runs away instead of shooting them, waiting for them to lose lives, to respawn, and then keep shooting. That was rather silly. If she just play, I guess, conservatively, not just keep firing for no reason, but like. It's not like they had armor. I don't know if there was some kind of hidden mechanic. Oh, and of course, at a very important part, Kinger creating a butterfly. That's, again, very important foreshadowing for episode 8. Yeah, but like, still, even with the shift to Jax, still an enjoyable, fun episode. Well, then next episode 7 and 8, well, they you could say they shift away from the like just formula of focusing on one character, of Pomni hanging out with one character, and just the bigger overarching plot starts of the whole how to escape the digital world of this Kane appearing, of revealing how the world this CNA and all that. But again, it's all fake, and of course we get an extended sequence of Jax tripping and almost abstracting and stuff, because it's focusing on him now. And like again, even though he is the only one who gets these flashbacks in the console room, like he has these flashbacks of the real world, the only one. And even though Kinger gets the offer to press the buttons, he just rushes in and presses because, he's now, the focus now shifts on him. And he turns out to be right. Although that is in his character. That the one thing I give that is in his character, to doubt it all and say like, oh no, Kane's gonna pop out, and then he starts laughing when he turns out to be right. And actually, something good that he stops treating it as a joke, like, ha ha, I was right, but like actually starts calling out Kane on the manipulations, like, you could control our minds all this time. And something that my sister noticed when I was showing her, she wasn't into it, they're like, hey, check them out. Check out these episodes, we were spending time together, and I showed her, and she pointed out, like, the rabbit's tail is back. Because it was back. So it's more evidence of Kane tampering. And then episode 8, that in my opinion, I consider the finale. Like, it's not the finale of the show, but it is the last episode I fully liked. The last episode I watched several times. Of course, Kane going crazy, the old song. Oh, the song is amazing. Digital even, I could say, It's news to me, że tak dziwi was. Subordynacja duże mala. Yeah, it is amazing. It is what it is. Kane going all becoming tyrannical. Then again, then of course there's the payoff of the Kinger acting differently in the dark. That was actually set up, I guess, not only from third episode, but all the way from the second, when he wears the bucket while they are riding back on the truck and stuff, and he starts being more sane and talking to Ragata about times they were back there. Oh, and of course there is finally some flashbacks for someone who is not Jax. Kinger actually gets his flashback not to his real life, but to the very start of the circus. That is super interesting to see how it all started, like the very beginning of when only the first players showed up, when the circus was just created. His wife was still around, to see him just alone wandering, and Ragata appearing. Again, although I guess it shifts from Kinger's flashback to Ragata. Although I wish Ragata would get more flashback again than Zubul and Gangle, more than they get. Well, Gangle got. I mean, how Zubul and Gangle and Ragata were in the circus, Yeah. Where was I? Oh yes, episode 8. Of course, there's the reveals start, the bigger plot of how to actually control Kane, to fight against him. That's the good parts. But again, there's constant shift from that to Jax. Oh no, I'm gonna go back to the real world. Again, these flashes of the real world, like, because he's the only one who's upset. Well, I guess there's the whole thing with his mother that does make sense, but to shift that, I don't know. Yeah, and the ending, it's so abrupt. Everything is falling, and then Zubul can swear, so Kane's control is gone. Kane actually got deleted. Oh, and one of the things that I'm most upset about in episode 8, well, one of the things I was most intrigued by when there were all those torture sequences, all of them were rather abstract, like Gangle with the happy and sad masks around her, and then a car. Well, that's just more or less obvious. Then Zubul with a ton of parts everywhere. Jax with his skin being peeled off and everyone laughing at him. Like, yeah, obvious. But one very obvious and the most intriguing to me was Ragatha, because there's like a bigger image of her, obviously her mother, but all the dummies around, they have knives in them, and Ragatha has knives thrown at her, and the knife goes into her eye. That is a button. So that's like, did her real life mother stab her in the eye and blind her in one eye? That's why one of her eyes is a button. That was very intriguing, something that I really wanted to find out. But then episode 9 comes along, that I went to the cinema to watch. I actually ran to the cinema because I was worried I'd be late. And when I arrived, they were still showing commercials for like 20 minutes. I ran and it was all sweaty. But yeah, I got there on time. Even got to see the fish talk about the Charlie fish talk about, not pirating and being clinically dead. That was funny. But yeah, episode 9. Yeah, one of the biggest issues I don't like about episode 9, and I think that one is not a personal issue, just like as a oh no, I dislike this because of my beliefs, because of my views. No, I just think that it is bad objectively or subjectively. I'm not sure which one is which, because it's English isn't my native language. But I just think Kane being back is bad. Well, not necessarily Kane being back. It's not that I dislike that he's back, it just feels unearned. The last episode ends with, Kane is deleted, he's gone, the whole world is falling apart. Next episode, Kane is back, somehow Kane returned. Of course, you can theorize like, it's some kind of backup. It's when the bubble was saying like, I'm hiring a baby, and a little bubble flew out of him to off screen. Maybe that was a backup of Kane, of these merged AIs. And of course, I completely forgot that the flashback from episode 8 of the one AI becoming malfunctioning and devouring the other AI. That was pretty cool flashback of Kane and Bubble. But yeah, Kane, it just returns in episode 9 without any explanation. It just feels lazy and unearned. If there was some kind of, if maybe the players in the circus, they would like try to, we need Kane to somehow, to make the circus work. Let's like bring him back, but control him. Maybe we can somehow restore him. That would be earned. Or if, there was the process of him returning was shown, of him like reassembling himself from the waste bin, he wasn't deleted, he was just put in the waste bin, or there was a backup. But no, he just wakes up in the void and that's it. He's just back. That's it. Then, of course, the one thing that I even hate more than that, the treatment of Bubble, the treatment of Blue AI. That when he is angry there in the void, he switches from like, I was so evil, and then like, no, they deserve that. How they delete me? He simply sticks a hand into his arm and rips out the blue AI. And then he becomes completely calm. Like, oh, it wasn't his fault that he was acting like that. It was all Bubble. Bubble was the evil one because Cain devoured Bubble, and because of that, Bubble became angry and evil. And a solution to that isn't that Cain would like take out the AI, the blue AI Bubble, to free Bubble and say like, hey, I'm sorry to devour you. I was so wrong, like, let's rule this digital world together and be nice to players. No, he simply rips out the blue AI and just tosses it into the void. That is an awful resolution to the character. And yeah, I know there is a post-credit scene where it shows that Cain is keeping the blue orb AI in a box, gently, like, but it's still... It is still an awful ending to the character of Bubble, to the character of the blue AI, to not only just throw it away, put it in the box, but to also blame for Cain's behavior. That is just awful writing, and Bubble deserved better. Bubble deserved better than just being thrown away and put in a box because it's Bubble who was making Cain crazy and evil. Just makes Cain just put all blame on Bubble. Yeah, scapegoat, I believe that means to make a scapegoat out of Bubble. Escape Bubble. That's just frustrating. And of course, oh yes, something very funny about episode 9 is that the English is called English is called Remember, but the Russian title of it, which YouTube for some reason insists on showing me the Russian translated titles. I don't know why, but it shows me the Russian translation that would be Pomni. So first time I saw it, I thought maybe it is actually named Pomni after Pomni the character, but no, Pomni, it was just remember, but in Russian. So to me it looked very ironic when the episode titled Pomni was about Cain, and then of course Jax. Yeah. That, and well, episode 9 is my least favorite. I didn't watch it 4 times because, first of all, there's Cain being back, and then it's just all Jax glazing, I guess. Like, at the very start, he just, don't wander off. Episode 8, Zubul says, hey, don't wander off and abstract on your own, but Jax goes and does just that. And now everyone is sad about it, even Gangle, which, no, I personally, when I saw Jax abstracted, I thought, hey, Gangle is finally safe, there is nobody to break her mask for fun. Because, maybe that's me, maybe I'm just biased towards bullies like Jax, how he was towards Gangle. Like, it's common, of course, in fiction to like, oh, bullies are reformed and they were just misunderstood and you just need to be kind to them and then you'll become friends with them. Hero Academia moment. But nah, like, yeah, there's realistically, I guess it is fiction, but I don't know, I think it's kinda stupid to make Gangle, who was a constant victim of abuse from Jax, from literally, as his flashback shows, literally from the moment that she showed up in the circus, she was being abused by Jax, and for her to be, that's like some sort of bad, I guess you could argue that on one hand it is some kind of like sick dependency, like Stockholm syndrome or whatever, like she just got so used to his abuse that she started missing him when he was gone. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's right to show like to show her the victim of abuse to be missing the abuser, which is, but again, it is something that's common. I just find it unpleasant, I guess, but they say art should disturb and all that. So, but Gangle now Jax can't smash her mask, and instead there's Zubul now, and other kind of smashing in the title, in the credits. So good for Gangle. But of course, now the show is about Jax, and even with Jax abstracted, we can't just throw him into the cellar. In the English, it was Kane called it cellar, yes, basement. No, we can't. Well, of course, Kane also isn't there. But no, it's not enough to just wall him off so he wouldn't hurt them. No, Pomni must rush and try to hug him because, now he's the main character. How could you kill him off? She must try to save him. I don't know, I saw all this setup of oh, here's a male character that is an ass to everyone, abuses another female character, but the female character, she will try to save and fix him. Even when he's crazy and violent, she will reach out and hug him. And then, of course, she goes inside Jax's mind, which, again, doesn't happen to any character who could benefit from it, Zubul and Ragata, who didn't get much of backstory and stuff. But what, again, upsets me the most is that Jax not only gets a backstory, it's one thing, yeah, of course, it's very cool to see. It was very cool to see, from his perspective. It not only shows his backstory, but it also shows how Kafmo were there, how Ribbit was there, how they all were all there. Shows Gangle show up, but it doesn't show much of her. It just shows her start getting abused by Jax. Even right from the call, it shows Pomni show up there, but we already saw that. It shows very important part of, oh no, Jax is sad about Kafmo abstracting. But one thing I'm very mad is those, and one thing that confused me, those doors where Pomni opens and she sees oh, Zubul abstracted, and Jax is there hitting on Gangle in the maid dress, making her uncomfortable and stuff and blushy and weird. Then the Gangle is abstracted and Zubul is trying to kill Jax with chainsaw hands. Chainsaw Man reference, yay. Then Ragata is abstracted and Jax is strangling Pomni. But then there is no Pomni abstracted and Jax reacting to that. And no Kinger abstracted and Jax reacting to that. And when I first saw that, a theory appeared in my mind right away, that maybe while Kane is in control of the bigger circus, that Jax somehow controls everything above that, and that it is all, of course, a simulation, but Jax controls the simulation, and he just resets it. He resets and puts people appear there, and they abstract, but that those were memories from different loops. They were back then someone abstracted this, and then Jax restarts the loop again and again. He just spends time in this digital world. That was the theory that I have in my head. But turns out, no, it's not. It's literally just Jax thinking about what he would do if that character abstracted. Which I think is just awfully preferential. Look, Zubul and Ragata they do not get any backstory whatsoever, except those passing lines in episode 5 and stuff, and some here and there. But Jax gets not only a super backstory of like how he was in real life, talking to Ribbit about how he was in real life, then before he got here, then all this stuff with Ribbit, and until like he gets backstory before circus, and he gets backstory in the circus, and he also gets what ifs scenarios of like, ooh, what he would do if this character abstracted, while some characters don't even get backstory, and he gets just a view into his mind. What would he do? The inner machinations of his mind are an enigma. It's like it's incredibly preferential to him, and I think other characters deserve, like, we really could go without 10 minutes of finding out what Jax, not something that he did, but just something that he thought he would do. And of course, like, yeah, that whole scene with several Jaxes, playing cards and playing piano, keep playing the piano, like all these, oh, he's so multi-sided personality, wow, he's the only one with so many different feelings, because all other characters aren't, they are all simple and one-dimensional. Like, could really forgo that and the what ifs and just jump into the whole actual flashback of him in real life, and then in the circus, and then talking to Ribbit, like that actual flashback, and then spend more time of episode 9 to maybe show how Kane came back, to show some flashbacks for Zubul and Ragatha. No, but no, Jax is the most important, and even when he's all moody and upset, and like well, of course, the reveal that I will admit, that was a big reveal, that why he actually wants to stay in the circus, why is he afraid of the real world, that he thinks he might have killed his mother. That is a very heavy reveal. Like, wow, yeah, you could see that it's not just like any, oh no, I might have done a crime and I'm hiding. It's like it's apparent, that is a heavy reveal, and I see how that would make all these his flashbacks in episode 7 and 8 would make a lot of sense, of him trying to not face reality. That would make a lot of sense. But again, it's the whole Pomni trying to reach him and fix him, and Ribbit also kind of trying that, I guess, and Ribbit failing, and then, well, abstracting because of him. Like all those flashbacks of him just being an ass to everyone. It's like, it seems the writer is trying to make me feel sad for him, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm just feeling mad at him, upset that I'm being shown this. The whole, like, that him facing back, all broody, but Pomni is still reaching out to him. It felt very, I don't know what the right word to say it, but tropey, like, ooh, sad broody man, and a woman must reach out and save him and fix him, even though he doesn't, like, he's acting like, oh no, I don't want it, I am so broken, don't, but she's like still gotta reach out to him and hug him, and then it doesn't work. It's, on one hand, you could say that, like, what's the point of this all was if he just remains abstracted and not even like, oh, maybe he'd become stay abstracted, but be more, more aware. But no, he just remains the crazy abstraction. But on the other hand, you could say that it's meant to be unfulfilling, on purpose. Like, not every story is well, not no, not that every story, but that it's realistic for, like, oh, she put in effort, she tried everything she could and it didn't work, and that's meant to be sad. Like, she couldn't save him despite all her efforts. That is kinda, I get the idea there. But but again, Jax gets preferential treatment. They built like this house for him to live on the surface in the circus with them. I guess you could say that, again, they couldn't reach the basement without Kane's help, but then Kane is back and he's still there on top, while every other abstraction is still there in the water in the basement. Like, sorry, Kingher, you can just go and sit and watch your wife through the glass, while our main character, writer self-insert Jax, is on top, gets preferential treatment. Sorry about that, Kingher. Your wife isn't important. Yeah. Then of course, the showing of how everyone is, well, everyone, not really everyone, how the real life counterparts of all the characters of the brain scans, again, Zubul and Ragata get the short end of the stick. Zubul is just like, oh, she runs a bar where Jax hangs out. It's like, even here he steals from her. Like, it's not like, oh, she runs a very successful bar. It's like, it was her dream to have a bar. She worked as a bartender. She's so successful, her dream came true. Oh no, it's a bar where Jax hang out. That's the important part. Well, I guess it is an important to, I guess, subversion or parallel. Like, in the circus, they are constantly fighting, but in real life, hey, he goes to her bar. That's pretty cool. Ragata, very, very upset about Ragata. It literally just flashes some random newspaper article that doesn't really show much about how she is. Like, oh, she separated from her mother and she's doing fine. Yay. Like, we don't get to find out if her mother stabbed her in the eye or anything. Nope, nothing, Just the important part is that Jax now works as a courier, and and that and that he goes to the Zubul's bar, and Ragata, who cares about that? You could say that Kinger gets the short end of the stick, but I like that joke of him in every photo with his family. It's not even his. I think it's not even his Facebook profile, but either his wife or his daughter. I don't remember. But his face is constantly covered by someone or something. That is funny. That was a funny thing. Yeah. And then everyone just lives happily after in the circus, except for the blue AI that is just put to sleep in a box. Even though blue AI didn't do. And of course, the whole this is what the real life counterpart does is, again, shows people who are currently active. And Jax, even though he was abstracted. He was abstracted, but I guess technically it also shows King. I have accidentally hit stop recording. I feel stupid about that. I was trying to do it in one take, but at least I noticed, that's good. I stopped talking as soon as I noticed. But as I was saying, even it shows only Jax out of all abstracted people. It doesn't show such all of those workers. You could say, oh, they are background characters. Okay, CNA workers. Who appeared first with Kinger and stuff. Okay, fine, but it doesn't show Kafmo. It doesn't show Ribbit. Like, oh, did she reconnect with her parents or not? Which was kinda whole thing. And with Jax, it doesn't even still doesn't say if Jax's mother is alive or not. Well, I guess she is, since Jax isn't being arrested and stuff. But it doesn't show Scratch. That would be really, really cool to see if how Scratch is doing, with the whole brain tumor thing. You'd think that was important to know if the creator of Digital Circus, creator of Kane, is still alive. It'd be cool to see what happened to CNA. Like if CNA is closed, why is there still a running computer? That would be cool to find out. So yeah, episode 9 is one I dislike the most. Yeah. But again, even with that, still, up until then, there is still a lot to enjoy there, and it's free. It's all for free. It's not like I paid to make it, so I can't really deny that it would be good for me. I watched the episode in the cinema, then like a few more times I checked out a few interesting moments in all other languages and when it was released, and I just was disappointed a bit, but still good. But then it's news to me. I suddenly started seeing news and some people even reaching out to me directly to let me know that apparently Jax is trans. Yeah, as is the creator of the not creator but the writer Gruesworks is also trans, and that's why Jax is trans, and that's why all the focus is on Jax now, because that's the self-insert. And if your self-insert is such an ass to everyone, and now the idea is that everyone be sad for Jax, because even though he is an ass to everyone, it wasn't because he thought he killed his mother. It was just because he's secretly trans and was hiding all this time, and that's why he was so evil to Gangle. Now everyone feels sad for him. That excuses all his actions. And I also didn't understand that at all. I guess I didn't notice the context clues, as Kane said, but I don't know. Some people point out the episode 5 that he gets put into a maid dress by Gangle and Zubul, and other waters as well, but Gangle and Zubul are the ones who come up with that, and he blushes and gets angry at Gangle, and some people provided this as as the proof that he is secretly trans, but I don't get it, because the logic is that he suddenly gets put into a maid dress and he is angry about it. And because he is angry about it, that means that he is secretly trans. But at the same time, the question arises, so if he would be not mad about it, if he would be okay with it, would that mean that he is not trans? Actually, no. Actually, in episode 9, where he appears in the maid dress while playing cards and says that he is wearing that ironically for comedy, and when he is, hitting on Gangle during Zubul's funeral, giving her the key and stuff, people also say look, he is wearing a maid dress and he's okay with that. That means he's trans. So it's him being upset about being put in the main dress means he's trans secretly, but also him being okay with being put in a main dress means that he is trans just openly. So trans if you do, trans if you don't, which just doesn't make sense. He likes it, that means he's trans. He doesn't like it, means he's secretly trans. That's just a very convenient way of thinking that just bends everything to fit your narrative. I guess it could just be done the opposite way. Look, he is upset about being put into a maid dress, and that means that he is not trans, because like otherwise he'd be okay. But then he is okay with being put in a maid dress because he is sure in his masculinity. Yeah, like I guess you could say that clothes and appearance do not define a person's sex. You could say that. Because, another, I guess, point or example some people use is in episode 6, where he says that he's not a chicken fetus in an egg waiting to be cracked and stuff. Well, that's, of course, yes, well, I know that there is some terminology that's used like that in trans context, but that's really not the only case, not the only context that people talk about eggs or about chickens. And also eggs in a trans context, I believe, is a very unhealthy thing that is actually just literally sexism. It is what it is. It's like, oh, you don't fit a stereotypical image of your sex. That means that you are actually secretly trying to be the opposite sex. It's just sexism. It's what it is, Yeah. And then later, what about him being the biggest thing, I guess, is just like I didn't see it at when in episode 9 he's talking with Ribbit and Ribbit puts her ball on his head, and that's meant to be like I guess I'm just the weird one, because I thought that it was a romantic thing, if I'm just saying, if I was with a woman in that woman's bedroom in a dimmed lighting with a how do you call it, those stars lights and stuff, kaleidoscope, planetarium lights, and we were on her bed and we were sitting real closely and we were sharing deep intimate secrets, and she would take off an accessory that she always wears and put it like on my head, in my hair, I'd expect a kiss next. Just saying. But maybe that's just me. I'm such a weirdo that thinks that a man wearing a bow on his head isn't automatically trans. But apparently that's the woke idea, that it's now woke to be sexist to say that anything that doesn't fit typical gender stereotypes, that's instantly trans. Yay. Very progressive, very not sexist, eggs and all that. But yeah, I found out about that. Like, it got proved to me, like, look, the writer says that Jax is trans. That, of course, called out some, I think, deserved comparisons with Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, like, oh, Dumbledore was gay all this time. Yes, I know some people are offended by it because J.K. Rowling doesn't support trans and transitioning. But I think that comparison is very correct. Like, with adding after the show is done, just trying to point things out, like, oh, actually, this was and that was. But again, many people saw that. Many people saw that as trans. So again, that's all in the eye of the beholder and stuff. Maybe I'm just the weirdo like that who thinks that men can wear bows on heads and stuff and not be typically masculine, whatever. But, and I'm just biased like that, and I didn't see it that way because many people saw it that way. But yeah, to need to point it out after, like, I see how in those the not white noise, but the noise moments where Ribbit and Jax talk. It could be that he told her that his secret, and that's when she says that his secret is safe with her and puts the bow. I could say that how that could fit there, but I guess I'm just biased and didn't consider that it would be there. I just saw that romantically. Yeah. It is what it is. Like some people, not gonna call any names, you know who you are, got hit to get very closely, like that made those people discover things about themselves. And to some people, it hit them so close that they think that they not only discovered things about themselves, but about other people somehow. You know who you are. You know, I'm not gonna call you names, but you know who you are. Yeah, because there have been. There may or may not have been someone who reached out to me and, tried to, convert me, so to say. I guess that's why is that? I guess because I have very long, beautiful hair. That's not something a man would have. That's very progressive. The progressive woke idea is that a man cannot have good-looking long hair. It must mean that secretly trans and all that crap. Yeah, some people are just not exactly well, but obviously those people just like the Amazing Digital Circus a lot. Maybe it was maybe those parts were not for me, but I still enjoyed the whole sci-fi, people trapped in the digital world and all the slapstick. Even without these huge, you could say, drawbacks, I cannot say that I dislike the Amazing Digital Circus. It would be wrong. I still rewatch clips, still listen to the Who's Running the Show. I just disregard those moments. It is a free show on the internet, made completely for free. A passion project, I guess, was what called. Even though those parts are not for me, I'll just enjoy the parts that universal, sci-fi, comedy, people trapped in digital world trying to escape. Yeah. Episode 9 is the only one I really haven't rewatched, and it's just... But again, it also can be said I don't know how the production went. I do want those 2 more episodes, one for Ragata and one for Zubul, somewhere before 7, but I don't know how the production went. And because obviously it's expensive, they are still trying to sell toys as far as I know, toys are really the only way that they can make money off of this. And obviously it was a big effort to make this. So maybe I am asking for too much. And I really have no right to be upset about an ending of a show that is made for free, and it's not like it's some kind of personal order that I specifically ordered for myself. I mean, I'm not even mad about like Chainsaw Man Part 2 ending. If you know, you know. So I can't really be mad about this ending. Like, are there things that I'm upset about? Definitely. But still, it's 4 episodes that I enjoy greatly, fully, and it's 4 more episodes that are decently enjoyable. Just episode 9. But it is very difficult to end the story in a satisfying way. And I'm not a writer, I'm not an animator. So I guess they could just did the best they could, and the creators, all of the creators seem to be very satisfied. It might be wrong. Like I say that starting from episode 5, it starts shifting from from a show for the audience, it starts shifting towards a show made for Gooseworks. The whole trans self-insert, especially episode 9 with Jax and all the dedications, but I don't. It's not like all the other people involved in the production were tricked into it. The animators, the voice actors, the musicians. I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing in this project. So, and obviously, if they didn't want, they would probably just not do it. If they completely hated how this story was turning out. Of course, it's easy to always think what could have been, but it is what it is. There's always fan projects for those who don't want it, fun endings, fun memes. One meme I just find very hilarious is where Jax and Zubul talking. And Zubul says, "If this was real life, I'd curb stomp your Filipino ass." And Jax answers, "Unlikely due to your inferior for your genetics." It says, "Meanwhile, in real world, Jax is on 4chan complaining about something with full of slurs about Zubul asking his pronouns when he walks into the bar. And Zubul is just like completely relaxed, just writing on her phone, I guess in Twitter or maybe it was Tumblr, I don't remember, like when the quote-unquote straight boy in hot weather and hoodie spends an hour mustering courage to enter your lesbian bar." Yeah, those memes were ridiculous. Yeah, like would I, some people, there's probably a lot of people who are like so upset, like, "Oh, I wish I never gotten into Amazing Digital Circus." But no, I cannot say that. I'd enjoy it. I watched again the 8th episode, of course. That 9th, no, I'd go as far as to say that I don't even want to return my money for the ticket. Like I'd still give that to them as support for the independent animation. So yeah, I guess that's what I think that is all that I wanted to say. A shame I interrupted the recording. I have to stitch it together. Yeah, I feel silly about that. Stupid keyboard. Stupid fingers. Something to add. Well, if someone actually listened to all of that, hey, thank you. Let me know. Maybe I was on your second screen while you were playing something, or maybe I was honored enough to be playing on a second screen of some artist who was drawing and needed some background noise. Now that would be a big honor. Let me know if that happened. Please let me know if I was able to contribute to art in some way. And of course, someone could poop this. That would be really great. That would be really amazing. That would be because all my sources are, or my videos, most of my videos are actions. So maybe this is finally something that be more poopable. Hope, wink, wink. Like getting into YTPs. And I guess I also say about Harry Potter, because I'm not invested into Harry Potter enough to say to make a separate video, because I only saw like maybe every movie maybe once, maybe not. Most of my exposure to Harry Potter comes from Russian YTPs. Gary Povar. Oh, это such a classic. Violent Hogwarts, Gary the Cook. Oh, classics. Yeah, by the way, actually look them up, because Violent Hogwarts and some of parts of the Gary the Cook, they have English subtitles, and you will not be disappointed if you like YTPs. For Gary the Cook, look up Cora0081, and for Violent Hogwarts, look up Trident? Oh, just look up Violent Hogwarts. Tidern? Oh, I forgot the name. Actually, wait, I can just look it up. I forgot that I can look it up. Жестокий Хогвартс. Жестокий Хогвартс. What? Tidern. 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 Those YTPs, Violent Hogwarts, they have the subtitles. You will not be disappointed if you like YTPs. They are hilarious. In it, Robbie from Lazy Town becomes the headmaster of Hogwarts and tries to get Harry. And then there is also the Papers, Please. It's hilarious. Just check it out, please. Where was I? Oh yes, the whole Harry Potter situation was very funny too. I'm not that invested into Harry Potter, but it was hilarious to observe the general population, or I guess the reception about the author of Harry Potter and the Harry Potter itself, flip-flopping. At first it was like just one of the most popular books to an annoying extent, like, read another book, come on, and that's not the only one. But then she goes, well, of course, after gay marriages got legalized, we want to be progressive, but not too much, don't want to really challenge anything, just wait until the gay marriages are legalized in like United States and most of the world, and then declare that Dumbledore was gay all this time. And then whoa, she's so progressive, so woke. And of course there is also how I can't believe this is so woke, I hate Harry Potter now. But then it turned out that she committed the horrible crime of thinking that males cannot be women. And now, now everyone hates her, and she is poisoned by black mold and whatever. And also, the most hilarious part is people now trying to the people that loved Harry Potter started loving Harry Potter even more when she said that Dumbledore is gay, and then when she said that she doesn't think males can be women, try to say that they hate, like, oh, Harry Potter is so bad now, and actually Harry Potter was always bad. Actually, there were always these plot holes and also these racist name of characters that I totally always knew about, but just ignored because I loved it so much, and because Dumbledore was secretly gay all this time. That was funny to observe. But yeah. Whew. Okay. Yeah, I guess I got all my thoughts out. Now I just need to stitch those two videos up because it was silly enough to press a button by accident.